All right, it's been raining. It's going to continue raining here for your Wednesday, but keep in mind we are cooler and drier for Halloween and the weekend plans, but the next couple of days quite messy. And we saw it this morning, the morning commute and any travel really on the roads is going to be affected by that rain, which has since lightened up just a little bit, but obviously we still have some showers to track here live on 19 at noon. If you have any questions about your neck of the woods, perhaps you have an event going on, maybe a trunk or treat or trick or treat, just let me know. We'll answer them throughout the live stream. But thanks so much for tuning in. As always, rain right now is pretty scattered around the tri-state, like we've been forecasting. Around the early afternoon for Wednesday is when we've been saying, hey, while there's going to be some showers, there's also going to be some lighter showers, some drizzle, but also some dry time too. And that's what we're seeing in our northern counties. So what I mean by northern, I mean you got Fayette, Union counties, not seeing a lot of rain that direction. Got a couple light showers in Butler, Warren, Clinton counties. And the farther south you go, like we've been tracking, that's where we see the heaviest rain right now. But again, they're kind of few and far between. There's definitely some dry time for you to take out the dog. The heaviest rain I'm circling right now, moving into parts of Grant, Pendleton counties. Here in Cincinnati, let's put a loop on it. You can see we're about to get clipped by a pretty brief but somewhat moderate line of showers. It's maybe going to clip us here in Queensgate, the Price Hill area. If you're tuning in from the east side, maybe close to Mount Adams, Riverside Drive, even as far east as Columbia, Tusculum, maybe some lighter rain with this. But overall, this is not the heaviest rain we're tracking for today. The heaviest rain is going to be pulling through later on tonight. So let's zoom out, give you a kind of a bird's eye view of this much bigger system because, excuse me, it is bringing in heavy rain to parts of Kentucky right now. You can kind of see it along 75 towards London, down 65 from Louisville into Bowling Green, more moderate showers, and there's more consistency. I'm not seeing a lot of breaks in between this. And so that's, of course, going to be swinging up and into the tri-state over the next few hours. So I'd say, I mean, if you are watching this and you're like, oh, maybe I've got a couple of hours to take the dog out, take myself out for a walk. I mean, while it's pretty light, we do have some showers pulling on into the our very northern Kentucky counties here, but the rain, once it starts, it's not really going to stop. We're going to see that happen over the next couple of hours, and for our evening shows, it's basically going to be a lot of rain pulling on through, and it's also quite breezy too, so overall not the most pleasant day to be outside. That center of the storm, the big ol' L you see right there, as it nudges itself closer to the tri-state, those winds are going to pick up. So that's why not just today, but also tomorrow, 2 first alert weather days. I'd say most of the rain is going to be falling today, but tomorrow is still going to be wet and it's still going to be breezy, especially in the morning. So here's kind of an overview of those first alert weather days. Again, widespread rain, gusty winds. We've already seen heavy impact to the outdoor plans. We'll touch on those rainfall totals here in just a second. And the entire tri-state, of course, everyone's going to get some rain, but the heaviest rain is going to be south in northern Kentucky as well as east. I'm seeing some stronger signals of upwards of an inch of rain east of Cincinnati. And this could, of course, lead to localized minor flooding. Nothing too huge in that department, but it's possible to see it, like, especially with storm drains that might be clogged by the leaves this time of year. And of course, any rain. Travel disruptions out the wazoo, it feels like. Let's take a look at those temperatures before we look at those wind gusts, because some of us, of course, need to step outside. And you want to make sure you step outside with a jacket, maybe 2 temperatures. They're in the upper 40s. We have some areas in the low 50s, and we've been saying there's a possibility that here in Cincinnati we climb to 50 degrees, maybe a little bit closer to the mid to low 50s. But as we see that rain pulling on through northern Kentucky, that window of opportunity is coming to a close pretty quickly, and so maybe 50 here in Cincinnati, and that's the warmest. And so you also, while I have you guys and while I have this, let's look at the wind chill just for fun, because I mean, we're seeing winds gusting up to about 25 miles per hour. So remember those temps that you see right there. Here's what it actually feels like. Some of us feel closer to the middle 30s than the actual middle 40s Everyone is seeing a wind chill though in the low 40s or to the upper 30s. And that's because these winds, take a look right here, they are gusting up to about 25 miles per hour. That's being seen and reported on our sensors in Middletown, Wilmington, and I mean everywhere, anywhere from about 20 to 25 miles per hour. And expect more of that as we see more rain pool into the tri-state later on this afternoon too. So it's regardless of if it's raining outside, if it's not raining outside, it's wet, it's cloudy, it's breezy. Give yourself some extra time out there on the roads for sure. Let's take a look at the timing here. Hopefully this will help answer some questions that you guys might have. So here's what we're seeing now. Of course, rain is fairly light, and then it's going to get heavy over the next couple of hours. So around 2 o'clock is when the more consistent showers pull into northern Kentucky, pull into Cincinnati, and then they're going to get heavy. And they're going to get heavy around 5 to 6. That's where we see the yellow. And notice how these showers are kind of swinging in from the southeast to the northwest. And that's because that center of the storm is getting closer. And we're just going to see these showers kind of rotate counterclockwise around that. So the winds are going to be shifting, but they're going to be strong regardless of the direction. Notice the heavy rain continues by about midnight into Thursday. And then through the morning as well. We're going to see a couple of rounds of these moderate showers. So that's why both Wednesday and Thursday are first alert weather days, because of the impact that this will have to your commutes, but also just outdoor plans in general. The good news about Thursday is while the first half is very messy, the second half is less messy. It's still wet, it's still breezy, but at least the heavy rain will be moved out by the evening commute, which means your Halloween forecast is looking cooler, but it is looking a lot drier as well. See if you have any questions pulling on in this afternoon, and I'm not seeing anything, so we'll go ahead and keep on going with this, which of course the next step after Thursday is Friday, and Friday is Halloween. So forecast highs on Halloween. I'm forecasting a high here in Cincinnati of about 53 degrees. So cooler, but not as cold as what we're seeing right now, and most certainly not as wet as we're seeing right now. And outside of a couple sprinkles early on Friday, can't rule that out, especially east of Cincinnati, the rest of the day is looking very dry. A little cooler but dry. Temperatures for trick or treat, which typically starts around 6 o'clock, 51 degrees. The sun will set, those temperatures go with it. Plan for the 40s if you're going to be outside for the entire trick or treat window, if you will. And bring a jacket as you do so too. Now, let's go ahead and look here at your weekend forecast, because, we're cooler, we're drier, but it's great to be outside, but especially in the afternoons, because, while it's going to be cooler, 50s, mid to low 50s, I should clarify. Just a couple stray sprinkles again on Saturday. That's it. Not tracking much in the way of rain at all. So it's a good first weekend of November. I know the final wrap-up Halloween activities, some places are extending that beyond Halloween, including the weekend. So it's a good weekend for any and all of it. The haunted houses, the pumpkin patches, the corn mazes, we might still be a little soggy in spots after today and tomorrow's rain, but it really depends on how quickly we're able to dry up. But with the clouds hanging around, I don't think it'll be super quick, especially where we see the heaviest rain. But mid to low 50s, not seeing much in the way of rain. And if you have tickets to the Bengals game on Sunday, that's looking good. Just bring a layer or two. Temperatures in the middle 50s. Okay, let's go see if we have any other questions before I get to our 7-day forecast. JD's tuning in. What is the weather for tomorrow morning? How are you doing today? Have a good day. Thank you, JD. You too. Tomorrow morning is going to be a mess. Again, heavy rain moving on through the tri-state overnight, and then putting more rain on top of it throughout your morning on Thursday. It's going to be wet and breezy. Give yourself extra time tomorrow. And also temperatures quite chilly in the 40s once again. Okay, no other questions coming on in. Let's get into the 7-day forecast, and then we're going to talk about Hurricane Melissa a little bit more, because while it technically did make landfall yesterday at 1 o'clock, it made a almost second landfall in Cuba today. So what we're seeing on your 7-day here in Ohio, back on land. mid to low 50s for your afternoon highs. Again, that's kind of being generous, and that's really banking on how much dry time we see in between the rain showers, which here for Wednesday, few and far between, and same thing with tomorrow. But by late Thursday evening, we're going to already be pretty clear with the skies. You're going to see some sun on Friday. Temperatures that morning, though, in the 30s, so bundle up. The afternoon, middle 50s. We're going to see those clouds cloud back over, for lack of a better term. I think there's high school football games on Halloween. I don't think that's a holiday that people would cancel high school football games, but if you have the high school football games this Friday, I'm not worried about much impact to the weather, but have a jacket or two. Temperatures that evening, and for any and all events going on Halloween evening, it's going to be a bit cooler in the evening, of course, after the sun sets, temperatures into the 40s. That's what we're waking up to on Saturday. Just a couple stray sprinkles. This is mainly northeast of Cincinnati, both Halloween and Saturday. And then Sunday, reminder, 2 o'clock in the morning, we fall back an hour. So I'll show you the sunset times, or the sunrise and sunset times for both days this weekend to show you what this means. But both the sunrise and the sunset are going to be an hour earlier. So that's why we fall back. The clocks fall back an hour. Monday, Tuesday, we see temperatures in the middle to upper 50s, and that's because the skies are going to open up after the weekend. Next week, to give you the first alert on that, looking mostly sunny, looking a little cold in the mornings as a result, but the afternoons look great. Highs near 60 degrees ahead of some late week rain, but of course that's daytime, so that might change already. So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we have any questions coming on in. And I'm not seeing anything coming on in this afternoon, so we'll go ahead and get into just that quick reminder for you guys about the sunrise and sunset times for this weekend, because it kind of can be a shock to the system. So I'm sure throwing a lot of numbers at you guys, so we're going to walk you through it. Saturday, the information is on the left side. You see there the sunrise is at the top, sunrise at 8:06 on Saturday, and sunset just after 6:30 that evening. You're like, oh, hey, okay, that's manageable. But the day after, Sunday, that sun is going to rise an hour earlier, and that's just because we fall back an hour, right? And so 7:07 is going to be your sunrise on Sunday, and then as the sunrise bumps up, so does the sunset. Those sunsets starting Sunday and lasting through your winter time, going to be quite early. 5:36. That is going to be the sunset on a Sunday. So while we're not technically losing a lot of daylight, it's just we're shifting the 24-hour period, if you will, an hour earlier. And so earlier sunrises, but earlier sunsets. Something you won't want to keep in mind there for your weekend. So don't be surprised if you wake up and your phone says one thing and then your microwave says the other. I do that all the time, especially for this. And one final thing before we sign off of here, Hurricane Melissa, of course, made landfall yesterday, and the latest information given to us by the National Hurricane Center at 11 o'clock. The category here is a category 2. Remember, Hurricane Melissa made landfall in western Jamaica as a category 5. So it's weakened, and that makes sense because it traveled over land. And as it moves more north, it loses a little bit more heat. But it's still a destructive hurricane, still impacting a lot of people in Cuba, moving its way towards the Bahamas today. It's moving northeast, of course, and putting a little bit of a track on it. And it's going to be moving northeast away from the States. But Bermuda is going to be getting its fair share of Melissa 2 as a category 2 hurricane, getting close around 9 o'clock tomorrow evening before weakening to a remnant low. So basically a storm that is not strong enough to be considered a hurricane. That'll happen Friday evening. And important to note, and I like mentioning this to bring it all back to us here in Ohio, when we see a strong low pressure system like a hurricane, like a tropical storm, and like a remnant low, we could, in here in Ohio, depending on what's going on land, of course, that means cooler temperatures will be pulling on in. And that's because we got a stiff northwesterly breeze. Those winds are going to be pulling towards that center of low pressure. And so that's why we're seeing cooler temperatures for your weekend. But as we see that wind shift for early next week, we're going to see the skies open up nicely, and those temperatures will be a bit warmer as well. So we're cool now. We're cool this weekend, but drier. But then next week, we're a bit warmer, more seasonal for sure, temperatures in the low 60s. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions this afternoon, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sign off of here. We'll have the latest information for you guys coming in on Fox 19 at 3. Again, first alert weather days for today, tomorrow, upwards of an inch in our northern Kentucky counties of additional rain. So some of us, most of us, will have seen over an inch of rain when everything is said and done. And the heaviest rain is yet to come. Things will pick up later on this evening. So we'll be tracking that live for you guys coming up at 3 o'clock. But for now, signing off here in Queensgate, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.